Hey, thank you for taking the time to click on today's video. Recently, there was an article written and published by BlackRock that was discussing women in retirement, and the findings were absolutely astounding. Of all the women that they studied and they asked questions to about retirement, what they found was only 59% of those women felt that their retirement plan was actually on track for a successful retirement. Now, when we think about that, what that really means to us is that the other 41% of the women feel as though they're not on track. And you know, when you think about women in retirement and the things that they face, the experiences that they've had all throughout their working career, they have a number of different challenges. First and foremost, most women don't have as long of a career as that of a man. They've spent time at home rearing their children, and so when they do have a career, they don't have as good of a paying career. They don't have as many years in working. And as a result, that means that their Social Security is typically going to be less. Now, when we think about retirement, what do you think the number one concern for women is going to be? It's going to be longevity. When we look at life expectancy and what's been happening over the course of the decades that have passed, what we have found is that women are outliving their counterparts, and that's nothing new. But now women are outliving their counterparts by an average of 6 years. So what this means is that when they lose that spouse, they're going to lose income because they're only going to have one Social Security check instead of two. So now these women are trying to figure out, okay, how am I going to survive the rest of my life and be able to maintain living an extra 6 to 10 years beyond that of my spouse? To add insult upon injury, when we study about the health care, and especially the costs of the health care of women, what we find is that healthcare expenses are not only more utilized by women, maybe that's why they live longer, but the reality is they pay 20% more in healthcare expenses than that of men. And so when you add all of this up, it sounds as though women are very uncertain. They have a lot of anxiety. They have a lot of fear when it comes to retiring. But this was the scariest statistic and finding of this study. 70% of women are confused as to how they're going to create income from what they've saved. So if you're a woman and you're watching this today, I encourage you to pay careful attention. The reality is that you've worked all of your years doing the jobs that you've had. Maybe some of those jobs have paid you well, maybe some of those jobs haven't. Maybe some of those jobs have provided you an opportunity to save in a 403B or a 401k. But your number one concern is going to be that of income. And there's only two real ways that we can create income in retirement for ourselves. The first way is that we can take that bucket of money and we can just simply take withdrawals. And that sounds awfully simple, but what we need to be careful of is the fact that the very things that we are investing in within that 401k to get us to retirement, those are things that help us accumulate. Those are things that help us compound and grow our money. And that's what we want. But when we get to retirement, it's all about distribution. And this is the scary part, because if you're having to sell shares from the 401k or from that 403b in order to get income, well, there's where the anxiety really lies. Because you don't know what the market's going to do. You don't know how many shares you're going to have to sell from month to month. And you don't know what price you're going to get when you go to sell those shares. So this is maybe not the way that you've thought of it, but this is really the root cause of the anxiety. Not knowing, not having that control, not having that sense of security and that sense of predictability. Now, for many women, what they have found is if they want income, if they want true income in retirement, and they want to feel safe, they want to feel taken care of, and they want to feel that sense of predictability, it's a very simple shift. Shifting from growth to that of income. Now, what does that look like? Instead of investing in things that are designed for growth that may or may not give you income, things that you're going to have to sell to get that income, it's all about owning assets in retirement that will produce income. Now, many of us think about rental homes as an income-producing asset, and many of us, owning a rental is something we're not interested in owning when we get into retirement. We don't want to have to deal with the tenants. We don't want to have to deal with the upkeep. But you see, we don't have to invest in rental homes to get rent. If we start to begin to educate ourselves about the universe of things that create income, whether that's dividend income, whether that's interest income, things that are contractual, things that are going to provide us a sense of predictability of interest and dividends. Could be bonds, could be annuities, could be CDs. There's an entire universe of things out there that are much safer than the things that we invested in within the 401k. And what will this do for your mindset? Well, number one, it will help to protect your principal. If your principal is there, you never have to worry about outliving it. But if your principal is producing interest and dividend income, and you can take that interest and dividend income every single month without touching that principal, now you know that you have a principal that is earning and producing the income that you want so that you can live the lifestyle that you want without having that fear, that anxiety of running out of money before you run out of life. Don't be one of those individuals that find themselves in that predicament of having to decide what they're going to have to give up this month in order to live and continue to live. Be the person that takes your retirement income in your own control and begin to educate yourself, whether you come to webinars, whether you go to workshops, whether you begin to read books. These are the things that we need to know today so that we can have a successful tomorrow. I'm Matthew Johnson. If you enjoyed this video, I always encourage you to give us a thumbs up. Hit that like button as well as that subscribe button. And every single week when we have a new video, we'll send that to your inbox. And also, I encourage you, share this with your friends. I'm Matthew Johnson. Thank you so much for watching. And remember, it's up to you to make today a great day.